Now, one reason these stocks have been so tough to own is that many shareholders seem to have unrealistic expectations. There are some people who think that marijuana is going to be legalized in the U.S. at a federal level sometime in the not-too-distant future. I hear that all the time. Let me tell you something. That's not with this Congress. Even the CBD criminalization from late last year was less generous than it sounds. You need to produce the stuff the way the Department of Agriculture tells you to, or it's still off limits. And now we're starting to see pushback from the FDA, which wants to establish a regulatory framework before it lets companies add the stuff to food products, dietary supplements. You've probably seen these CBD stores popping up all over the place, but it hasn't been the slam dunk that many investors thought it would be. And the big packaged food companies, they still seem very hesitant to get involved. You know, I ask all of them about this. More importantly, recreational weed is still illegal, a real crime at the federal level. And while the House Judiciary Committee started holding hearings on decriminalization yesterday, this is a long way from becoming actual law. Of course, the states will keep legalizing it in a piecemeal fashion. But if you're betting that Congress will take action, make it so that all the big, say, consumer packaged food companies will come in and start doing things, don't hold your breath. Without the promise of legalization here in the U.S., you have to make decisions on the cannabis stocks based on the numbers, no longer optimistic promises. And the actual numbers are complicated, to put it diplomatically. That brings us back to Canopy Growth, the best-of-breed player in the space. A few weeks ago, Canopy reported a quarter that was widely seen disappointing, especially by controlling shareholder Constellation, which decried the weakness on their own conference call. While Canopy sales are still growing like a weed, they saw a pretty sizable year-over-year decline in pricing, and its kilograms sold came in far below Wall Street's expectations. Adding insult to injury, Canopy's total operating expenses are growing faster than its sales. For many investors, this was a rude awakening. Cold water in the face, taking over the Canadian cannabis industry. Turns out it's going to cost a lot of money. Then last Wednesday, when we heard that Bruce Linton, the founder and co-CEO, who had been a guest many times on Mad Money, had resigned, and when he called him to Squawk Box, he made it clear that he'd been terminated. Wow, this was big news. Given that Constellation Brands has effectively controlled Canopy since its big investment last year, we went directly to the source, CEO Bill Newlands. He told us that the company needed a different leader to move on to the next phase of the growth. My takeaway is that Constellation wants Canopy to seem like, let's call it more legitimate, because it's continuing to expand into new areas, especially health and medical products, where you got to be more buttoned down. Going forward, they want someone who will focus less on deal making and building the brand and focus more on execution. Bruce Linton didn't just get fired because he put up a bad quarter. He got fired because investors are finally beginning to pay a lot of attention to the numbers. He was a terrific founder, an outstanding promoter, and yes, kind of a super great guy. But the company wants to go in another direction, and he couldn't pivot the way that they wanted to. A lot of what's happened in the country, I'm going to give this guy credit, were things that he said and did. And I don't mean to be so tough on him. Bill Newlands is a very serious businessman, and so's Linton. But they're two different kinds, and one's not working right now for this stock, Canopy. So how do we evaluate the cannabis stocks going forward? We don't want to hear about how many stores you got going to put up. We want to know how your products are selling.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.